Assalamu alaikum. By the way, Qais and I, we had a dinner last night. We never agreed on the color of Kandora. So please, thank you for having us here. What an inspiring day. Falcon to walking to sailing, the palm tree. And I hope I can add a bit of inspiration here as well. I would like everyone to be engaged a bit, because I'm going to share with you some of the product that you are very familiar with. Probably for the first time you're going to hear stories that I did not share anywhere else before. Okay, let me see if technology works here. Okay, very good. How many of you are very familiar with Al-Khalijiyah, the radio station? Okay, you listen to Al-Khalijiyah. Very good. How long do you think it takes to launch a radio station? Technically, staffing, programming, format, sales, everything else. How long? Numbers here, please. 1 year, 2 years. Very good. It takes usually between 8 months to 1 year. How long do you think it took us to launch this radio station?
6 months.
And again, this is the first time I reveal this. 1 month. 1 month. We received a phone call. We had an idea. We said, want to go ahead with it? They said, how long? We said, well, usually it takes 6 to 8 months. They said, you have a month. Can you do it? We said, yes. It was a month. Recruiting, hiring, music library, formatting, training, and selling as well. It took us 1 month. Let me give you another example here. How many of you read this newspaper? I'm sure a lot of people here. It takes 1.5 to 2 years to launch any newspaper. We had no clue when we thought about launching newspapers. We said, you know what? We are very passionate about media. We are done building 8 radio stations. Let's go for newspapers now. We brought 2 consultants on board. We wanted to learn. One of them told us 1.5 years. The other one said 2 years. We can't do this in the UAE. High-rise buildings are built in 6 months. Our shareholders would kill us. We said, you know what? Thank you so much. We bought tickets to our 2 lovely consultants, and we said, go back home. We can't have you here. I still remember one of them telling us, you know what, I'll do whatever it takes. If anyone can launch that newspaper in less than 1.5 years. We packed. I remember at that time it was myself and the editor-in-chief, Sami Riyami. And we traveled. We went to so many countries. Going to Europe, going to America, going to Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon. We decided to learn. We decided to learn how to format newspapers. We decided to learn how to select stories, how the entire cycle of print works. And we recruited people. How long do you think it took us to launch this newspaper? 6 months. 6 months. You know what I did? When we launched the newspaper in 6 months, I took 2 copies, and I've sent them to our lovely consultant. And I said, you can make things happen in the UAE. So this is another story I wanted to share with you. And I'll come and I'll tell you why I'm sharing these stories. The third example. How many of you have seen the Kulluna Khalifa, the National Day event which took place in Dubai? And I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this. Yeah. And this will lead us to, another business that I took a lot of challenge to start. Kulluna Khalifa was the National Day event in Dubai. And basically we had to create and produce a 45-minute show interviewing at least 8 ministers and VIPs and creating a show. And there were 2 songs, by the way, one an opera song and the other one was more of a National Day song. And then we had 200 kids coming and being trained, a lot of rehearsal. How long it takes to basically produce something like this? Well, that's great. I do anything for 2 days. Usually it takes 3 to 6 months. It took us 3 weeks. 3 weeks to put a show like this together. And I'm not talking here only about the event, but social media, mobile application, iPad application, everything else related to this. The reason why I'm showing these examples, personally, these are stories I came here to share with you. I think there are few projects that I would consider they made me as a person. The challenge of making things happen. We can do a lot in life, but I think very few individuals, and again, I'm not talking about myself here, I'm talking about a teamwork that made all these projects happen. When we believe in something, the state of mind, the state of making things happen, you know, we go for it. We don't need someone to teach us. We understand our culture, we understand our needs, we know our society. In the case of الإمارات اليوم, I still remember so many people came to us and said, are you guys nuts? You're going to go for this size newspaper? No one would read it. It's not going to work. No one will advertise. But then again, you don't have to sail where the wave is going all the time, you know, going against the wave. This is where the learning happens. But then what I'm trying to, and again, this is something I did not even share with my own team, and I hope you're not going to share this with them. At the beginning of 2010, I've decided to resign and to start my own company. And at that time, it was the risk that I decided to take. And guess what? And this is the piece of information that I've never shared with anyone, and I hope, you know, my team would appreciate this today. I had only 4 months' salaries to pay when I started this business. So if I don't make things happen within 4 months, then I should shut it. And everyone goes home. I recruited people. I brought them on board. I promised them that we're going to grow together. It wasn't only about me. It was about them. It was about their families. It was about where I promised I would take them. So I said, yes, let's go. A lot of sleepless nights, 18 hours of hard work every day. It's a year now, and we are growing, and we have a lot of accounts. And guess what? We just won some big accounts. This happened last week. We won one of the accounts of a telecom company. Usually, a small agency or an agency which is not even a year old would not take an account like this. And there is no way they'll give it to us because we are a local company. You know, so again, it's a piece of information I wanted to share. It started with myself sitting in a coffee shop. I sat in a coffee shop for almost 2 months, thinking, planning, reading, and that was Borders, by the way, Starbucks, and I'm not trying to promote Starbucks here. Starbucks at Borders, Mall of the Emirates. I stationed myself there almost every day. And I traveled. I decided then I want to travel and I want to just free my mind and think what I want to do next. I went away. For the first time, I told my family. I said, I'm going. And they said, where? I said, I don't know. I packed. I booked a ticket. I went to London, and I didn't know what I would do in London. For the first time, all I took, casual clothes. No suits, no kandora, nothing. I just want to go casual. I decided not to see anyone. I decided not to meet anyone. I decided just to be there. And from there, I woke up one day, and I said, you know what? I'll go to D.C. I don't know why. I just took another plane and I went to Washington, D.C. I got stuck in that snowstorm, if you remember, last year. I was there in my hotel for almost a week doing nothing. I rented a 4-wheel drive and I got bored after 3 days. Then I decided to go and rescue all these students who got stuck in the snow and etc. So that was, again, something else I realized was very inspiring. You know, it helped me make a lot of friends who helped me put my thoughts together. Now, what I'm trying to to tell you here, and I'll come to how I was very much inspired by a lot of different leaders. Nothing can break me today easily, trust me. Nothing can break me because I went through the tough time. And every time we come, as an agency, and I'm sure if some of you are very familiar with how agencies operate, we get a lot of proposals, and we go for pitches. Every time my team comes to me and they say, boss, are we going for this? The question I ask them, how easy this proposal is. If it's easy, we drop it. Then we know everyone else can do it. They say, boss, this one is tough. Should we drop it? I said, no, let's go for it. This is the one we want. Because then you realize very few people, very few individuals, and very few companies would go for something like this. And this makes you. Then again, we've decided to learn that losing is winning. Losing is not losing. And this is one problem, by the way, we have in this society. The first obstacle makes a lot of people take a U-turn. No, it's not. It's an obstacle that makes you. So what? We'll work again. We'll go again. And we'll win. Even if we win 1 out of 10, we are still winning, and we're still going, and we're still achieving. I was very much inspired by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed. I was lucky to be one of 30 people who were selected to be in his first leadership badge. This also helped developing the inside of me. A lot of other leaders, and I think people from this society, and I'm sure for everyone who travels the world, I would say we are very lucky. We have all the components to be successful. We have all the support that is needed. Complaining, we hear complaints, but I would say people who complain, there are people who have time to complain, and they're not working enough or thinking loud enough in terms of where they want to go next. Well, I don't want to bore you with a lot of photos that I put together here, but this was part of the journey. And again, this is a land of opportunities. Some of the supports we get in this country, but I'm sure there are a lot of initiatives right now, almost in every Emirates. So again, this tells a lot. It brings a lot of support from the government to especially UAE nationals. I selected also a few photos here, and believe me, these are people who I worked with. If you are in this room and if you need support, these people will always support, because they supported a lot of us. And I always like to bring them to my presentation, because I'm sure if you go and knock on their doors, they're not going to say no to you. Abdul Basit al-Janahi, and I'm sure, well, I don't want to talk about his position now, but he's someone who's not going to say no to any of you. Farid Faridouni from Do, again, someone who would always try to help UAE nationals, and I would say non-nationals as well. Layla Sale, DSF, and the reason why I'm bringing these individuals in particular, because I lived with them, and I know their style, their attitude. Najla Al-Awadi used to be at DMI, Muna Al-Marri, Al-Girg. And, well, I don't want to, again, just take you through some of the accounts we have right now, coming out of nowhere. One person sitting at a coffee shop, thinking loud, building a dream, and today we passed that stage of having a 4-month salary. I promise you we have at least a 2-year salary in our bank account. Thank you so much.